this process we're in is all about awakening to this deep dimension of who we are and learning to live from it, so that literally our entire life becomes an expression of our very highest potential. That is such a radical thing to do, that it requires us to approach it with this kind of audacious innocence and audacious optimism. In other words, in order to even have a shot at this, in order to even be able to give yourself to this consistently, you have to believe it's possible. And you have to believe it's possible for you. And in these practices, you have to believe it's possible for you right now.
Welcome to Meditation Changes Everything with spiritual teacher Craig Hamilton, a podcast exploring the deeper potentials of meditation practice and how it can change every aspect of human life. In today's episode, Craig explores an often overlooked aspect of meditation, the mindset we bring to the practice. While many of us naturally focus on mastering the technique and ensuring we're doing it right, there's another layer that's just as essential: the energy and attitude we bring to each moment of meditation. Craig explores two key attitudes that can fuel your meditation: audacious optimism and deep intention. These are not just abstract ideas, they're powerful tools that can help you break through to new levels of clarity and alignment. By shifting how we show up for our practice, we can unlock its full potential. This episode offers insights that can reignite your commitment and deepen your experience. We hope you enjoy the show. Here's Craig.
I want to talk a little bit about mindset, what I would call practice mindsets. I've never really used the word mindset before. I've talked about our attitudes and kind of character traits and qualities and things we bring, but it occurred to me as I was creating this session that mindset's actually a good name for the things I want to talk about here. So there are a few, kind of inner foundations that will really support us to get the most out of this practice. And the first one I want to talk about is what I would call cultivating an audacious optimism. An audacious optimism. So, spiritual awakening is the most radical thing we could give ourselves to. It is it's the biggest leap for a human being to make. It is the highest potential we could ever aspire for. It's the breaking of all the unconscious momentum, not just of our past, but of our entire human past, even a lot of our animal past. It is this profound shift in consciousness to open to the sacred depth of our true nature, and then allow that to begin to live our life. So this process we're in is all about awakening to this deep dimension of who we are and learning to live from it, so that literally our entire life becomes an expression of our very highest potential. That is such a radical thing to do, that it requires us to approach it with this kind of audacious innocence and audacious optimism. In other words, in order to even have a shot at this, in order to even be able to give yourself to this consistently, you have to believe it's possible. And you have to believe it's possible for you. And in these practices, you have to believe it's possible for you right now. The reason I said right now is because the nature of this practice is not about getting better at something for the future. So often when we do any kind of practice in life, it's to get better at something for another time. We practice our musical instrument so that we are better at that instrument, so that when it comes to perform or to record, we're at the top of our game. Or we practice a sport or we practice our tennis swing or our golf swing or our skiing, form or whatever. We practice that form in order to get better at that, for the game. In the, I guess in the sports metaphor, for to win the game. But spiritual practice, particularly this spiritual practice, the practice of direct awakening, is always only about this moment. And it's always only about awakening in this moment of practice. The practice only works if we give up time. If we give up any idea of a future that I'm trying to prepare for or perfect myself for. That's what enables the practice to work, because awakening is always only a right now event. And so we need to come to our practice with the full optimism and audacity that this moment is the moment that I awaken. That this moment, it is fully possible for me. I can do this. There's nothing in my way. There's nothing that could get in my way. And that sounds simple, but you can probably also feel, how there's a part of you that could just sort of try to just say yes in a superficial sort of way. Like, oh, okay, I'm just going to say a big yes. Yes, I'm here to do this. I believe this. But you could feel that deep down, maybe you don't really believe it. You're not sure how to do it. You don't know that it's really possible. You don't really have that audacious optimism. And so when I talk about cultivating it, I mean cultivating it. I mean really genuinely reflecting on this and cutting through your own beliefs and limitation that say, oh, it's not really possible. Maybe it's possible for that person, but not for me. I don't have what it takes. I don't have this, that. I'm not disciplined enough. I haven't done enough practice. I'm not sure I'm the right type for this, whatever. All the limiting voices, both about the possibility and about ourselves, we need to be willing to face into and persevere through and ultimately cut through completely, so that we can be in this audacious optimism that's required to really do this. So reflect on that. Some of the mindset things I'm talking about now are things that, there's two levels to this. There's a level of it that you can invoke or get rooted in right before you practice. Like right before you practice, you kind of sit down and remind yourself that you're going all the way right now, and that there's no preparation involved here, and that you're ready, and there's a part of this that's right before you practice to just kind of get on the right footing for practice. There's another part of this that's an ongoing reflection and contemplation process, where you really are getting down to, do I really believe it's possible for me to go this far, to do this? And if not, well, let's look at those limiting beliefs and deconstruct them and see through them and get to the place where I really do, where I'm really congruent in this sense of possibility. Actually, I just want to, since I'm talking a lot, I actually just want to give you a moment now to just sit with yourself and your own sense of possibility consciousness, your own sense of audacious optimism. Sense the part of yourself that has that believes that. And also notice any part of yourself that doesn't. The doubts, the limiting voices. Just take a moment to sit with your own, where you are on that spectrum, and all the complexity maybe that's within you around this possibility, this ultimate possibility. So the second kind of spiritual mindset I want to talk about is our intention to awaken, which also includes our motivation to practice. Because let's face it, our ability to really practice consistently and what we really bring to our practice has a lot to do with our motivation. People say, I don't feel motivated to practice. I don't feel like practicing. Or we sit down and practice, but we're not really compelled to meditate. We're sort of, it's on my list. I know I'm supposed to do it. So I'm sitting down to do it. I know it's good for me. So I'm doing it. But hopefully we've also all had the experience of feeling a very powerful spiritual motivation propelling us to practice. This yearning, this longing to be free, this sense of possibility that then is pulling us toward it. Or this sense of the unconsciousness of the human race and our own unconsciousness and the habits that we still act out that we know we want to get beyond, and ways we sometimes speak or behave that feel not aligned with our higher potential, and that's propelling us. But there's something that's driving us to really take spiritual practice seriously and really do this. So that's our motivation I'm speaking about. And then that motivation can be rooted, can be fueled by a powerful spiritual intention to practice, which is more something, again, that we can cultivate. Intention's a big word. What I really mean here is wanting it. Wanting it for the right reasons and wanting it in a big enough way that it really makes it happen. There's it's one of the paradoxes of meditation practice, frankly, is that to some degree in meditation, we're being asked to want nothing, to not try to change anything, to not have any opinion about how things should be, and to just allow the moment to unfold with no agenda. And then at the same time, we're being asked to want spiritual awakening more than we've ever wanted anything in our lives. The Indian sage Ramana Maharshi said, you have to want enlightenment like a drowning person wants air. So we need this powerful motive, this powerful intent, and at the same time, it's an intent to really go beyond our own world of intentions, our own world of motives, our own world of wants and needs and fears. So yes, it's a paradox. We don't need to undo the paradox as much as we need to really work both sides of it until it ultimately resolves itself in our experience. But so, and the other context piece for this discussion of motivation and intention is just how many of us have the experience of often being distracted when we're meditating. We're sitting there meditating, but we notice we just keep getting involved in the mind, stories, or planning, or this or that, or we fall asleep, or we daydream, or whatever it is. We find that we're not really fully showing up for the practice the whole time. This also can be because we don't have a powerful enough motive, a powerful enough intent coming into that. And so again, this is something that you can spend a little time before you meditate, reflecting on your motivation, your intention. Why am I meditating? Why does this matter? Reminding yourself. Maybe you come to meditation out of a busy day and it's like, okay, wait, there's all that, but there's this. What am I here to do? And see, and I'm bringing this up because we might often be coming to our meditation looking for some relief from the stress of our day, right? We kind of, if we have a motivation to meditate, it might very often be something like, oh, I just want to relax. I just want to let go of the day. I just want that peaceful, quiet feeling for a little while. My life's chaotic. I want just the peace of it. And it's not bad to want some peace from your day. It's not bad to want a little break from the the swirl and the chaos, but it's not going to be adequate. That motivation is not going to be adequate to propel real spiritual awakening. Why? Because there are going to be times when it's going to be uncomfortable. And if all you want to do is feel good and peaceful, then you're not going to go through that discomfort to the clarity and illumination on the other side. So we need to find a reason to practice and to meditate that is bigger than just, I want to feel some contentment and peace right now. And so I'll just mention some of the things that I'm going to invite you to contemplate on an ongoing basis in your life to build a more profound intention for awakening. And these are also things you can contemplate briefly before you practice each time. So both. And it really has to do with getting more related to why awakening is really important, to why it is significant, to why it really matters, and letting that become a living part of your consciousness all the time. Like, I must awaken. Humanity must awaken. And let that become a living kind of force within you. So one of the things that can help us do this is is reflecting on just the precious and rare opportunity you have to be pursuing spiritual awakening. If you look around at this world and what a large percentage of people don't have any such opportunity or even know about such an opportunity for different reasons. For some, it's because they're just living in poverty, scraping to get by, only concerned about trying to get enough for the next meal for them or their family. They're living in very primitive, basic conditions, and there's not the leisure time to think, I want to meditate and pursue spiritual awakening. Might never show up in their life. Or people living in war-torn conditions around the planet, and how that puts you in a basic survival consciousness only, and this opportunity we have to not be in survival consciousness. So reflecting broadly on the state of the human condition, and the fortunate opportunity to, and not just fortunate, but the sort of sorry to say it, the obligation that comes with being a fortunate person who can pursue such things. If you can, and you have the freedom to, and you even have the recognition of this potential, the sense that we must, and therefore I don't have the luxury to just live a self-centered life, or just pursue my own comfort and happiness, or just coast because everything's working reasonably well for me and I'm reasonably safe, but to really realize I'm helping this whole human condition rise up, and I'm a part that I can play is this very important part of awakening human consciousness. And that leads to another thing that we can contemplate that's very powerful, is just the sort of evolutionary significance of spiritual awakening for life and for consciousness and for our planet. I mean, we look around at the devastation that's being wrought on our biosphere. The every couple weeks now, a new very alarming report on the state of our climate has been coming forth, and how rapidly that's accelerating, and the painful part of that, without getting into endless details, the painful part, right, is that we have the technology to address it, and we have the steps we need to take very clearly mapped out as a society, as a species. But there's what's missing? The will, the long-term higher order interest is being overshadowed by short-term self-interest, and just a lack of will to really change and make some sacrifices and painful moves, and the short-term pursuit of wealth, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, I'm not going to get into too much of analysis. You can do your own analysis, but the point is, look at the human condition and how we're relating even to the fact that we're wrecking our planet. And again, not just to feel bad about what's happening to the planet, but to really realize, wow, human beings, we're just not very conscious yet. We're not very mature yet. We're really a kind of very primitive species still, just with an enormous amount of power. And it's dangerous and it's frightening and it's kind of sad. And can that be a motivation to be part of the solution, to be one of the ones who's waking up, not just to the need to, live a more ecologically conscious life, but who's waking up to the seed that beyond, to become somebody who's evolving beyond the seeds that inside us that are leading to all of these pathologies, if you will. To really become a non-pathological human being, to be a human being who's really risen above all the pathologies of the ego and of our survival consciousness and of the self-orientation and the tribalism and the ethnocentrism and all of these lower order kind of structures in consciousness, to become a truly global citizen who truly cares about the greater good, who's willing to sacrifice for all the right reasons to serve the flourishing of life and consciousness. The kind of exemplary human being we all aspire to be, but to really realize I need to awaken my spiritual nature for that to happen. So I've sort of given you a bit of just a riff of things to reflect upon, and I think there are a lot of other things you could draw in around that, but the main point is, and I guess the last piece is just to see, and then to reflect on the potential of awakening to the degree that you've tasted it, sensed it in yourself, seen it in other people, what it makes possible. That this sacred context that is it is the foundation of everything, that become realized and become incarnated and manifest in human form, so that we can begin to create a kind of heaven on earth, even if it's just a few initially, and even if it's in smaller ways, but that the ripple effects of that, the significance of that. So again, you can reflect on all of this for a few minutes before you meditate. It's good to contemplate it throughout your life and just to begin to really grapple with, oh, yes, this is why I'm on the spiritual path. This is why I care about this, not just to feel a bit better today, but because I really feel that this is the matter of ultimate significance of human life, that I wake up out of the dream of egoic consciousness and into the radical liberating truth of unity and wholeness and this higher evolutionary process that's unfolding. So I encourage a lot of that. I encourage a lot of both of those. A lot of reflection on the, cutting through all of your limiting beliefs, coming into possibility consciousness and audacious optimism, and a lot of reflection on the deeper why this matters. And if we're all doing both of those things daily, reflecting on both of those things, we'll be creating a very powerful force within ourselves to propel our practice, and both to compel us to do our practice, but then when we're doing our practice, to really propel us deep in our practice beyond all the distraction and everything else.
This podcast is supported by our paying members in Craig's Awakened Life membership program. When you join the Awakened Life, each month you'll receive in-depth teachings and guidance in the practice of direct awakening, including a meditation workshop, 4 guided meditations, and a live online retreat with Craig. And when you register today, you can receive your first month for 50% off. Go to awakenedlifemembership.com to learn more and enroll. If you enjoyed today's episode, we hope you'll share our show with others. And please subscribe and rate us wherever you listen to your favorite shows. If you have a minute to write a short review on your podcast app, we would deeply appreciate your support. You can stay connected to the show by subscribing to our newsletter at meditationchangeseverything.com. Each week, we'll send you new audios and videos from Craig, and we'll also let you know when we release new episodes of the show. If the approach to meditation we've been exploring today inspires you, you are invited to tune into a 90-minute online workshop Craig will be hosting called Meditation 2.0, The Miracle of Direct Awakening. In the workshop, he'll share a powerful new approach to meditation practice and guide you in a series of brief meditation experiments so you can experience it for yourself. You can listen to that at freemeditationworkshop.com. That's freemeditationworkshop.com. Check out our show notes for links to all the ways you can stay in touch with Craig's work. Meditation Changes Everything is created by Craig Hamilton, Susan Fries, Morgan Dix, Stephanie Murphy, Will Bowman, and Richard Klein. From all of us, thank you for tuning in.